That the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let the record show that the witnesses all answered in the affirmative.
The fired, treasonous clowns of Twitter faced the truth and their accusers at a Republican majority House Oversight Committee.
I did not act unlawfully or otherwise inappropriately in any manner with respect to Hunter Biden's laptop.
While I was at Twitter, the company never lost sight of its deep commitment to promoting and defending free expression around the world.
In nearly 8 years at Twitter, I worked in and led a division called Trust and Safety. The gray area of this work, though, is when trust and safety teams have to make decisions about so-called lawful but awful material. Content that may be legal in many jurisdictions, but isn't something most people would want to experience. Unrestricted free speech, paradoxically, results in less speech, not more. And it was our job in Trust and Safety to try to strike an appropriate balance.
Every day, we had to decide whether a particular piece of content equated to yelling fire in a crowded theater.
Well, Mr. Roth, did you write this tweet?
I regret the language that I used in some of my former tweets, but yes, I did post that.
Yes, that person in the pink hat is clearly a bigger threat to your brand of feminism than actual Nazis in the White House. Mr. Roth, do you think all conservatives are Nazis?
Certainly not, sir.
Did Ms. Gaddy or any other lawyer at Twitter ever tell you to take down that tweet?
No, Twitter did not have a practice of restricting employees sharing their personal viewpoints on the service.
Twitter placed ads from U.S. companies, including Amazon, Disney, McDonald's, and on the Twitter accounts of the Taliban news organization and their spokespersons and their senior leaders. Ms. Gaddy, did Twitter make money off placed ads on Taliban Twitter accounts on August 26, 2021, when 13 U.S. men and women died in a suicide bombing?
I have no knowledge of this matter.
Unexpectedly, the hearing experienced a dubious power outage. When order out of chaos had been restored, Democrats rallied to essentially protect their donor-class cabal in Silicon Valley, no matter the damage or violation it represented towards the republic.
And we should be talking about the threats to our democracy. That's the real threat, not an old article that seemingly couldn't reach the viewership it sought through its own platform to disparage and attempt to skew the election in favor of a twice impeached former president who lost a secure and fair election.
You stated that Donald Trump described his own tweets as little missiles. Why did that stick in your mind?
Yes, the quote that you're referring to, I don't remember exactly what news article that it was in, but it was a news article that I had read in which the former president said that he liked to send out his tweets like little missiles. To me, that sounded exactly like weaponization of a platform in his own words, and yet Twitter was not concerned.
Free speech is about the government limiting speech around about the public. My governor, Ron DeSantis, is doing that right now. I have a venue in my district that he's revoking the liquor license of, trying to close because they had a drag show.
They want the ability to inject this again. So they've dragged a social media platform here in Congress. They're weaponizing the use of this committee so that they can do it again. We could be talking about abortion rights, civil rights, voting rights, but instead we're talking about Hunter Biden's half-fake laptop story.
While Republicans bore down on the ugly truth, uncovering layers of manipulation by a deep state unleashing its control over American free speech.
The reason that we've had this hearing is because the laptop has been mislabeled by many in the mainstream media as being Russian disinformation.
Apparently, the views of a Stanford doctor are disinformation to you people. So my first question this morning of Ms. Gaddy, may I ask of you, where did you go to medical school?
I did not go to medical school.
I'm sorry?
I did not go to medical school.
That's what I thought.
You, ladies and gentlemen, interfered with the United States of America 2020 presidential election, knowingly and willingly. That's the bad news. It's going to get worse because this is the investigation part. Later comes the arrest part.
As the questioning continued, the ex-executives gradually revealed that either they were lying to Congress, which could land them each up to 5 years in prison, or the real culprits behind the scenes had not yet been called as witnesses.
Who advocated for the removal of the New York Post story?
The company's decision to treat it as a violation.
Mr. Roth, who at the company actually went over your recommendation? Because you're pretty high up. Who overrode you?
The decision was communicated to me by my direct supervisor.
Who is that person?
Her name was Del Harvey.
Mr. Matt Taibbi, a respected reporter who published much of the Twitter files, said, quote, Twitter's contact with FBI was constant and pervasive, as if it were a subsidiary. Now, I want to better understand why he would suggest that. Mr. Roth, while at Twitter, how many meetings did you have with the FBI?
I couldn't say for sure, but I
More
would
than
say
10?
That's a
More than
reasonable
20?
estimate. I couldn't say for sure.
And as CNN and others celebrated the Democrats' position, it became abundantly clear that there is no end in sight for the Democrats and Mockingbird Media's campaign of learned helplessness foisted upon the American people. Republican Representative Anna Luna's smackdown rewarded her with a sloppy propaganda hit piece, hastily thrown together by the Mockingbird Media CIA hub, The Washington Post.
Their undertone of their article was incredibly racist. They tried to undercut my Hispanic heritage. They even spoke to my mother and didn't report a lot of what she was posting. So the Washington Post is compost, and they should do better.
Can you explain to me why the federal government would ever have interest in communicating through JIRA, mind you, a private cloud server, with social media companies without oversight to censor American voices? I want to let you know that this is a violation of the First Amendment, and the federal government is colluding with social media companies to censor Americans. A screenshot behind me, which is an example of one of thousands, shows on November 3rd, 2020, that you, Mr. Roth, a Twitter employee, were exchanging communications on JIRA, a private cloud server, with CISA, NASS, NASED, and Alex Stamos, who now works at Stanford and is a former security officer at Facebook, to remove a posting. Do you now remember communicating on a private cloud server to remove a posting?
I wouldn't agree with the characterization.
I don't care if you agree. This is your stuff. Yes or no, did you communicate with a private entity, the government agency, on a private cloud server, yes or no?
The question was if I
Yes or no? Yeah, I'm on time. Yes or no?
Ma'am, I don't believe I can give you a yes or no.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now that you did, and we have proof of it.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Chair.
Yeah, I just want to call to the attention of the chair and members
Mr. Fume, yes,
that
you're
we're getting
recognized.
awfully close to witness intimidation.
What is the committee's policy around threatening a witness? Around the rules of decorum, can we agree that threatening a witness comes close to broaching general decorum? It does broach general decorum of the committee?
With all due respect, Mr. Ocasio-Cortez, we don't agree that there was any witness threatening.
Meanwhile, a myriad of websites suspiciously went down simultaneously on the day of this Twitter hearing. Was it possible that somewhere someone was very nervous and that a blow had been struck against the hull of the New World Order?